Hi, I'm Scoot, and welcome to Scoot on the Air YouTube. I also have Facebook and Instagram. It's all Scoot on the Air. I want to talk for just a moment about the not guilty verdict of former President Donald Trump and what it explains about America today. The backlash for those who are um, honest enough to vote for his conviction, in particular, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy. Louisiana is a bright red state. I'm in New Orleans. And so I know this. I've talked to Senator Cassidy many times. He is in a red state. He's a Republican. And yet he had the courage to vote his conscience, which was to convict President Trump of inciting a riot leading up to and on January the 6th. Now there are people saying, well, he should resign. There are people saying that he should be recalled. I don't even think that's possible. He is also being censured by the Louisiana Republican Party, which is really nothing more than we disagree with you. It doesn't mean a damn thing. But a censure is it's taking an individual out of a group that seems to have broken from the ideals of the group. So it's not really that big a deal. But it's really interesting that Democrats are not calling for those who voted not guilty to resign and to be recalled or whatever. They're not being bashed. I think we should respect the politicians who vote their conscience. And then you decide how you're going to vote for them when it comes to re-election. I'm hearing people now, and this is a big thing on social media. Well, Senator Kennedy, because Senator Kennedy voted not guilty. I'm sorry, because Senator Kennedy voted to convict former President Trump. There are people who are saying he's never going to win the election. He shouldn't even be on the ballot. What part of being in America do people not understand? I'm just shocked that we've reached this point where a lot of people who claim to be patriotic Americans, they're the ones who most display an un-American, unpatriotic mentality. And it's kind of scary. So what happens to the Republican Party from here? Right now, it looks as if the Trump effect is still strong. And this is why it's important to rally people who are rats, Republicans against Trump. You heard of rhinos? Well, there's rats, Republicans against Trump. It's important to rally people who are conservatives and Republicans to denounce the Trump factor. You don't have to believe in Trump. You don't have to follow Trump. You don't have to empathize or create whataboutisms when it comes to excusing the rioters. You don't have to do that in order to be a conservative or in order to be a Republican. In fact, many would argue that that group doesn't even appreciate or promote true conservative ideology. I mean, how can people sympathize with and kind of in a subtle way promote Trump supporters breaking into the Capitol, breaking things, and calling for the hanging of Vice President Mike Pence? I don't know. Were they really going to do it? I don't know. But they said they wanted to hang him. And there were times in the prosecution's evidence being presented that you got the impression that President Trump knew that this was going on. So we live in a crazy world. And I don't know where the Republican Party is going, because if the Trump supporters take their group and splinter off from the Republican Party as a party will be weakened. And I don't know how they're going to win another election. And the truth is the Democrats are not that strong. The Democrats are winning because of Trump. I know this is hard for so many people to take. And they don't want to recognize this. And they can't defend many of the things that Trump has said and done. They can't defend what the Trump supporters did at the Capitol on January the 6th. They can't support it. So here's the truth behind the microphone. when it comes to people in radio and social media. That group wants to beat up on the messenger. I'm delivering the message of what happened. It is a fact. Those were Trump supporters. I know, look, if you want to believe in the crazy conspiracy that they were really Antifa disguised as Trump supporters, you can believe that if you want, but there's no evidence to that. The people who have been arrested from January 6th, they are linked directly to former President Donald Trump. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. And so, since that can't be defended, anybody that presents that message is going to get attacked. Now, you can't attack the people on CNN. You can't attack the people on MSNBC. So what happens is the local radio talk show host gets attacked. And it's okay. I'm prepared for it, but I don't take it personally because that's all that it is. It's basically this group of Trump supporters ODing on frustration. And so what they're doing is they're trying to lash out at whatever they can. And they lash out at the messenger. Well, you shouldn't even be talking about this. Well, why can't we move on? I guarantee if this was about Hillary or Pelosi or Schumer, the same people are saying, let's move on, would not want to move on. And you know that's true. So, I just find all of this to be a fascinating moment in our history. And you know what? It's not going to get any better. You think we're about to come together? I don't think so. The Democrats don't have to really do very much because the Republican Party is killing itself with the war. Now, we have a long time till 2024. There are going to be midterms in 2 years. Well, no, in 1 year. Next year, there'll be midterm elections. That's going to be a blank show, but that's going to be fun to watch. And then there's the 2024 election. By 2024, and if I'm wrong, I'll be on the air to say it. I don't think Trump is going to be the factor then that he is now. And I see him fading as time goes on, or at least just relating to this very extreme group of Republican conservatives. There are voices like Senator Ben Sasse from Nebraska and Representative Adam Kinzinger. No, Senator Adam Representative Adam Kinzinger? I forget. I think he's a representative. Representative Adam Kinzinger from Illinois. A war vet, a moderate voice in the Republican Party. Yeah, he's a congressman. And there's Mitt Romney. These are the voices. If these voices take over the Republican Party is going to win. And they may win big. And the Democrats are going to be in trouble if they don't prepare themselves for this. Because right now, you may have the Democrats saying, we got this made. The Republican Party is in shambles. We got this made. Well, if they have that attitude, they're going to get their butts kicked. If the Republicans pull it together and let this other group splinter off, you see, here's the key. Mathematically, the key is to attract enough moderate voters to win. And what Donald Trump proved is something that I've been talking about on my radio show on WWL. I've been talking about it here on Skewered on the Air, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, is that there are not enough Trump supporters to elect Trump or reelect him. Trump didn't win because of his supporters. He didn't win because of his base. And he pandered to his base the whole 4 years. And I talked about this on my show for 4 years. I can't believe this guy is only pandering to his base because his base is not big enough to reelect him. And that's exactly what he proved to be true. Now, look back at Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan would be considered a very moderate Republican today. I know a lot of people don't want to admit that, and they think that Ronald Reagan is like the torch bearer for ultra-conservative extremists. No way. That was not Ronald Reagan. So, check out history before you believe that stupidity. So Ronald Reagan attracted so many Democrats that they called them Reagan Democrats. That's what the Republican Party is in a position to do right now. Because there are people who don't want this country to be progressive. There are Democrats who don't want this country far left. Now, I don't know what the future is going to hold. When millennials become the establishment, maybe this country will be more progressive. Or maybe they will change like the baby boomers and become more conservative. I don't know. Time will tell. But if Donald Trump controls the Republican Party, I don't see how they're going to win. There weren't enough of them to reelect him. There are not enough of them to elect him in 2024. And I think that group is going to get smaller as the time passes. So we'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining me here. You could join me on my radio show. I am a registered independent. I describe myself as a radical moderate. I don't belong to either political tribe. And look, sometimes I'm conservative on an issue, sometimes I'm liberal on an issue, and that's the way most Americans are. Most Americans are not really far right or far left. No, they're just like me. They're moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats, and independents and libertarians, just like me. We are the ones that have the power to determine the outcome of elections, and we did in 2016, and we did in 2020. And the people that put Trump in office were people that were moderate. They didn't like everything about him, but they didn't want the political status quo. They wanted change. Hillary was the wrong candidate at the wrong time, and she lost. That's why Trump won. But Trump didn't win because his rallies were big. He let his own ego drive him. And so he thought, I've got these rallies. I won before. I'm going to win again. I had people call my radio show and guarantee Trump was going to win in a landslide. What happened? By his own definition of landslide, he lost in a landslide. And most people, some people have stuff going on in their brains and they've convinced themselves of the big lie. But most people, especially on Capitol Hill, even the people who voted for President Trump to be acquitted, they know what he did. They know what his attitude was. They know what his mentality was. They know. But there still is this reluctance to be honest. And that's why I really applaud the senators like Mitt Romney and Bill Cassidy from Louisiana for voting their conscience. And now there are people who want them out because they voted their conscience. Well, then maybe we should be calling for those who voted guilty. I'm sorry, not guilty. Maybe we should call for them to be kicked out. No, they voted their conscience. And ultimately, the American public has the power to decide. So thank you for joining me. Again, my radio show is on WWL AM FM in New Orleans. It's 870 AM, 105.3 FM in New Orleans and the Gulf South. But you can stream the show anywhere, locally or anywhere, by downloading the app radio.com. Radio.com. Download the app. It's free. And type in WWL. I'm on the air 1 to 4, Monday through Friday in the afternoon. And it's Central Time. So thank you for joining me. Have a nice day.